I think Studio Ghibli characters, like I've done Grandma Mare from Ponyo and Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. I've also done Kiki, and I'm working on more right now that are Studio Ghibli related. I don't know if you know what Studio Ghibli is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a literary consultant. Do you have any idea what a literary consultant does? Well, neither do I. So you know what? Let's just talk to this lady and find out. Let me introduce our next guest. The one, the only, the amazing Saph Dodd. Well, thank you for being on the show.
No problem. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so you are this is a literary consultant. Can you explain exactly what that is?
Well, in this case, it's like a fancy way of describing someone who works in a bookstore. I help people find books that they're looking for. I make recommendations. I also like it's a lot of customer service, but it's actually like it's really fun and rewarding work because I can turn people on to like important literature.
So, do you help people like find books that they would enjoy and be interested in? And how do you do that?
Well, usually I'll ask like a few questions about like what they're looking for or what they enjoy, and then I can usually make a basic recommendation off of that.
So, did you like wake up and decide that you can do this, or did you like work under someone first?
Oh, well, I worked there 2 years ago, and then I recently rejoined. So I guess like I was under somebody. I'm training for a key holder position right now.
Okay. So I assume you must really have to love books in order to do this job, right?
Yeah, books are a huge, huge part of it. And knowing like what to recommend, and also I feel like being an avid reader helps in this job.
Okay. So what's the best part about working as a literary consultant?
I think the connections I can make with people based like on the time I spend with them and the books that I recommend, or the books that they've already read that I've read, and we bond over it a little bit. I think the most important part is probably the connections.
So, do you think is like better reading a paper book or like listening to an audiobook?
There is no wrong way to read. You can do audiobooks if like you don't have the focus and the time to like sit down and read a like physical copy. I prefer physical copies. There's some people that prefer audiobooks though, and that's okay too. There's no wrong way to uh, consume literature.
Yeah, I know a few people that I'm close with that read with better with audiobooks. So, it's nice to see the both best of both ways. So, since you
Yeah.
work at a store, do you get all your books for free?
Well, that's actually neat. They have a program where you can check out books from the store. So like it's like a library, any book in the store, as long as it's not like super popular, just released and like selling out actively. You can pretty much choose any book in the store and take it home and read it. So yeah, that's a big perk of the job. I also get 40% off at the store.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. So, do you get to be there for the events, like where the authors like do the signings and stuff?
Yeah, I've done a couple of events where authors come and do signings, and it's always really nice. The authors that I've gotten to work with a couple of times were really nice and really polite. It was a really cool experience.
So, what is one thing you think kids should know about being a literary consultant?
I guess like probably the part where there's no wrong way to read, because like I know there's a lot of stigma going around about the audiobook thing. I've heard that, and I don't like it. So I think it's important to know that No matter how you're reading, as long as you're reading, that's the important part.
Well, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut! That's a wrap! Just use that!
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here with Saph Dodd, a literary consultant and a published author. So, Saph, this is awesome. What type of books do you like to write about?
Well, my debut novel was a fantasy action adventure, young adult. I am trying to break off into a little bit more of adult fiction, but I really enjoyed writing the series that I'm the sequel comes out in a couple of months for my debut novel. I really enjoyed writing that. I do like to write horror. That's my favorite genre to write. But I haven't had the chance to really put that forward in the publishing industry yet.
Well, I wish you luck with that. That's a great genre. I really like it. So what motivated you to want to become an author?
Well, I've always wanted to be an author. I knew I was a writer from the moment I learned to write. I picked up a pencil and I haven't stopped writing stories since then. So I've always known that's what I wanted to do. What really propelled me though was the death of my uncle, who I was very close to in 2017. I wrote Sovereign Fourth as a way to process my grief from that. And it turned out to be this really beautiful story that I didn't expect. And it helped me work through some really hard times.
Wow. Well, hope that goes well. Well, was it hard to find someone to publish your books?
It's very hard, especially without a literary agent. Because in the industry, you have to send queries to literary agents about what you're writing so that you can get it picked up. And a lot of times you'll get a no. And a lot of times you'll get lots of no's. And it's important to stick with it. Jumpmaster Press took a really big chance on me because I didn't have an agent, and I was really lucky to find them.
Okay, so how many books have you written?
I've written a total of 5 books. I've published one. The second one is in publishing right now. It's going to be available later this year.
Okay, so in the year 2025, it will be published.
Yep.
Okay, so what is the hardest part about being an author?
The motivation. Sometimes I have to be in the certain mood to write, or it comes out really bad. It doesn't come out good. It's not my best work and I'm not proud of it. So I really have to be in a certain mindset to be able to write. Otherwise it doesn't come out very well.
So do you get to travel all over the world about promoting your book?
I wish it was all over the world. I have been, I have had a few con appearances since I was published, and I tend to sell really well at conventions. So my publisher says that I'm like a gifted salesperson. So at cons and stuff, that's pretty much where I go to promote.
Okay, so what should a kid listening right now do in order to prepare if they want to go up and write a book?
You need to learn that 2 things that are really important. Learn to take constructive criticism and not take it personally. Because there are people that I work with that edit my stuff and that constantly are teaching me actively things to get better at writing, even though I've been writing my entire life. You can always learn something new. So never like think that you've perfected your craft. Always work on getting better. And also, you need to learn that like you're going to get a million no's before you get a yes. So you just have to be persistent and you have to keep trying because you know that the world deserves to read your writing. You just have to find somebody else that agrees with you.
That's true. I can definitely agree with that. You'll get a million no's because we've been doing that with sponsors lately. So, Saph, what is the most misunderstood part about your work?
I think that the perception that authors like get big bank is kind of not true. Um, Even on the off chance that like if my title went viral, publishing money is slow and like it's slow moving and it's very scarce. So like there's not like a whole lot of money in it unless you are consistently hitting the number one spot on the New York Times list. I had a friend who did that, and she like didn't see a penny of it for like a couple of years. So it's like yes, you have to understand we're doing this as a job, but we also, like it's not. It doesn't make me any less of an author to be working as a literary consultant as well. Just
That's
because I
pretty
can't
good.
support myself off my writing yet.
So, who can you say was the person that helped drive your passion the most?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I actually thanked her yesterday. I saw her for the first time in 20 years. She was my second grade teacher. Her name is Miss Clifford, and she really made a lasting impact on me when I was in second grade. And then when I was in fourth grade, I had surgery to remove my tonsils, and it went wrong. The stitches busted, and it ended up like I was on bed rest for an entire school year.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she volunteered to come to my house 3 days a week after school. She didn't really get paid for it. She just wanted me to not fall behind, and she also always got me books that I asked for from the library so that I could read too. So she was a big part of me sticking to the writing because she could see even at a young age that I was like a good writer.
Wow. Well, what's the best advice that you've ever received, and who gave you that advice?
Um, be open to learning, like what I said. Be open to learning more about your craft, no matter what level of it you were at. You could be like the best writer in the world and still have a ton of stuff to learn. And I learned that from Kyle. Kyle Hanna, my publisher.
Okay. So, did you expect all of my questions just to be that hard?
No, I didn't.
Well, what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
I like the fact that it reaches people and gives them kind of like a safe space to go for a little while, and to give them the escape that I often crave myself in books. It just feels good to like. It really matters to people, and you don't think it does, but when you put your story out there, I cover a lot of tough topics in the debut novel, and a lot of people seem to resonate with it. So I was really happy that I could reach people on an emotional level. And I think that's the important part of this job.
Okay. Well, on that note, let's do a quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius!
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back with Saph Dodd, author and cosplayer. Ooh, I love cosplay. Do you make all your own outfits?
No, I am learning to sew my own outfits right now, but I have a seamstress that I go to alter my clothes when I need them altered, and I tend to find pieces of an like I don't buy cosplays fully. I just I buy pieces here and there that I think I could put together a cosplay. I think I'm good at that. I'm not really good at making my own clothes, but I am good at making props.
Okay, so what are your favorite characters to dress up as?
I think Studio Ghibli characters, like I've done Grandma Mare from Ponyo and Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. I've also done Kiki, and I'm working on more right now that are Studio Ghibli related. I don't know if you know what Studio Ghibli is.
Well, do you make accessories like swords or like other weapons out of foam?
Yeah, I made some props out of foam and like other craft stuff. Like I made a fairy's tear bottle from Zelda out of like an old perfume bottle, and I've made a fairy in a bottle for Zelda.
That's pretty good. Well, what is that one thing that happened in your career that you did not expect?
Uh, Getting published. That was the one thing I didn't expect.
Well, what have you learned about yourself that you wish that you knew earlier?
Um, that's a hard question. Um, I think I've learned that I'm a lot more versatile than I originally thought. Like I'm more flexible on things. I get final creative say over um, whatever goes into the final product of the novel. But like I try to take the advice of people that they like the editors and stuff that they give me.
Well, if you could change anything to make your job easier or better, what would it be?
Probably. I'm not sure. I think maybe the process of queries would be a lot easier if like because we never know how many bestsellers are kept from being published just because a literary agent thought they didn't have potential. So it's kind of like I wish that process was a bit more smooth.
Ah. Well, if you could go back in time and give your 14-year-old self advice, what would it be?
Hang in there and keep writing.
That's a good one. So, Saph, on your off time besides cosplay, what are your favorite things to do?
I like to play video games. I'm a big cozy gamer, so I like Animal Crossing and The Sims mostly. I have learned to make my own stuff in The Sims too. And so I'm a big like comfy gamer. I also play on my GameCube. If anybody is ancient enough to know about that, I have a GameCube and I play all my Zelda games on it, the original from Wind Waker to Twilight Princess. So
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
big retro and comfy gamer.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, what's your favorite book to read, other than your own?
Oh, um, I like this book called A Drowned Maiden's Hair, and that book really it's a mystery drama. Like I call it a melodrama on the cover, but I think that like it was a cool little mystery, like from the 1920s, and I thought it was a neat little book, and I picked it at random in sixth grade to do a report on, and I just have loved it since. I still have a copy of it.
Wow. So, what was the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Um, Biggest mistake. Oh gosh, you really put me on the spot here, Tiberius. um, I think probably my biggest mistake was probably like almost giving up writing completely. Whenever I was like 24, so it was like 2 years before I got published, and I was feeling really down and really like I'm never going to be published. I'm never going to be an author. There's no point. But I didn't stop writing, even though I was like I did for a little bit, and then I got back into it because I know deep in my heart I can't stop writing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show, but that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on. You can tell me.
Okay. So I was, let me tell you about the time I committed Grand Theft Auto as a 14-year-old. So when I was 14, I had friends that were into stuff that they weren't supposed to be in, but like you don't want your friends in trouble. So the sheriff of my little small town, they had replaced the police force with Prius cars, which were very easy to move. Um, and he had come to the playground where I was at, and I knew my friends were gonna get in trouble, so I don't recommend this. Please, disclaimer: do not do this. But I got into the Prius and I put it in neutral, and I rolled it away down into a ditch. And he was so mad, and like I just remember him lighting up like a tomato. Um, and I got out of the car really quick, so I was like, "Oh wow, that's unfortunate. You must have left it in neutral." And he had no way to prove that I had gotten in the car and done that because this was before all of the cameras and stuff were in it. So he calls my mom because they're friends, and he's like, "Your daughter just committed Grand Theft Auto on my cop car, and I'm debating whether or not to bring her in." And my mom was like, "Please don't, please don't." And so that's the story of how I committed Grand Theft Auto when I was 14.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you and what you do?
Um, I think it's important to know that stories really reach people. They reach people on different levels, and I think that's a good way of connecting and sharing the human experience. So if you're a writer and you haven't been published yet and you're hoping to be published someday, don't ever give up because it'll happen when you least expect it.
Well, do you have a Facebook or a website for my listeners that want to follow you?
I have a TikTok. It is Sovereign Storyteller. And I have an Instagram, which is dollface.zombie. And I have a Facebook page. It's Saph Dodd.
Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Man, come on. I don't know. Um, I really can't think of anything. I'm like on the spot. I was not prepared.
Okay, well... Well, thank you, Saph Dodd, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Sure, what is Math Corners?
It's the next segment.
Okay.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad, my computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Well, thank you, Saph, for helping with Math Corners. And this week, we're going to solve multi-step word problems, as always. And my dad is always good at finding problems for me to solve. Today, we're going to talk about running a bookstore. Emma runs a bookstore and is preparing for a big weekend sale. She keeps track of how many books are sold each day. On Friday, she sold 125 books. On Saturday, she sold 198 books. And on Sunday, she sold 257 books. So how many books did she sell in total over the weekend? And by the way, Emma earns an average of $14 per book sold. So how much total money did she make from the book sales over the weekend?
Do I have to answer that?
Nah, you're good. I got you. Well, first is a world problem because you do have to keep track of your sales and how much you make when you run a bookstore. So first, you have to add up all the books that were sold. So Friday is 125 plus Saturday, which is 198, is 323. Quick math. Then you gotta add the Sunday 323 plus 257 is about 580. So the total number of books sold for the weekend sale is 580 books. But wait, there's more. The average sale is $14 per book. So now I have to multiply the 580 by 14, and you get, this is harder, wait, $8,120. So $8,120 is your total. So Saph, do you have to count up all your sales, or do you have a computer that does all the work for you?
I have a computer. If I had to do all that math myself, I have dyscalculia. I'm not good with numbers. You just lost me completely. But I'm glad that you solved the problem.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. How do you use math with your work?
Well, there sometimes is like a thing where like something will be 40% off or start 20% off or whatever percent off, and they won't ring up that way. So then you got to do a little bit of math on the calculator, figure out how much it would be this percentage off, and then adjust the price. So that's usually the math that I run into, but it's pretty simple stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Saph, for your help with Math Corners.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about nobility. For me, I think nobility is remembering we are God's special possessions and acting in a noble way, showing courage and honor. The qualities of nobility are goodness, virtue, honor, generosity, and selflessness. So, I was at the bowling alley during a tournament, and we had people playing Baker bowling. So, it was 5 people on a team, and we're all working together. My friend John was on our team, and on his last throw, he accidentally stepped over the foul line, and the computer did not catch it. I saw it, and he looked at me, because he knew he did it too. We were going to win if he didn't say anything, but we both knew it would not be fair. So, we called for a ref, and we told him that the computer missed that he accidentally fouled. Everyone on the team was shocked, but understood that being selfless and honest was more important than winning the tournament. We did get second place that tournament. So, yeah. So, Saph, do you have an example of nobility that you saw this week?
I see a lot of people standing up for their beliefs lately, and that makes me kind of proud. Just seeing people stand up against something that's wrong or oppressive. And I think that kind of has the heart of a lion by definition.
So, Saph, of all of the Heart of Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Right now, I think it's probably leadership.
Okay. Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Sapphire Dodd for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we can learn a lot about your work as a literary consultant and a published author.
Thank you so much for having me, Tiberius. This was a lot of fun. Even though it was tough questions, I really enjoyed this interview, so thank you.
No problem. Do you mind giving your social media and website again?
So my TikTok is Sovereign Storyteller. My Instagram is dollface.zombie. And my Facebook is Saph in Dodd. So it's like Saph, the letter N, and then Dodd.
Okay, well, also you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, K1988, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. So, Saph, please tell me you're subscribed.
You know, I don't know. I might be. I might not be, but I will be.
Dad, you better make sure she's subscribed. Oh, and be sure to leave me a comment if you want to work in the literary world. I answer all the comments myself. And also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.